Today we're going to review order of operations. You should really know how to do all this. It's kind of a review, but this is very important to learn because we'll use this all year long. Use it really in any math class you're in. So the first thing we always do is look for our grouping symbols. Now, before you maybe just said parentheses, now we can have brackets. We also have fraction bars kind of grouping symbol, and that you need to do everything on top and then everything on the bottom, and then divide the two if necessary. Second thing you always look for is exponents. Then multiply and divide, but remember, left to right is a very important part of that rule. So if you use that rule, PEMDAS, just make sure when you do the multiply and divide that you do it left to right, not all multiply and then all divide. And last, add and subtract left to right. So the left to right is a very important part of the rule. So let's see if we can do some examples with this. So in this example, what are we going to do first? Well, we notice there aren't any grouping symbol, no exponents, no multiply and divide. It is all add and subtract, so I'm going to start and work left to right. So 6 plus 8 is 14, would be my first step. 14 minus 3 would be 11, and then 11 plus 2 would be 13. So remember, some people have a tendency to do over here first and then over here, but no, left to right. Here, there aren't any grouping symbols, no exponents, so I'm going to start with my multiplication and get 3 plus 6 plus 5. Now it's all addition. 3 plus 6 is 9, 9 plus 5 is 14. And again, I'm not super picky on showing all your steps as long as I can see. So like in this problem, like the first problem, I would have taken 14, and then 14 minus 3 is 11, and then 11 plus 2 is 13. So if I would have just seen those numbers written down, you wouldn't have to write all the steps down. Here I need to start with my exponents, so really it's over here. So this stuff is going to stay the same for a minute. Minus 4 times 4 is what 4 squared is, so that would be 16. Now I have multiplication division. I'm going to do it left to right. 15 divided by 3 is 5, and then 5 times 4 is 20. So there I kind of left out a step. 20 minus 16 is 4. So I do want to see what you're doing, but you don't have to write out every line as a step if you don't need to. Here we do have some grouping symbols, but what is this grouping symbol here used for? This is just used as a way to show multiplication, so there's not really anything you can do inside the parentheses, so we need to come over here and start. 4 plus 3 is 7. Now I'm going to do my multiplication. 2 times 5 is 10, plus, again, number in front of parentheses means multiply, 21, so then I would get 31. Here I do have some grouping symbols, inside grouping symbols, so I've got to start on the inside and work my way out. So I'm going to start with the 30 divided by 6, which is 5, and I'm going to do my squaring of that. 5 squared would be 25, and that's still in brackets. So now I have to add the 25 and 5 to get 30, and now I multiply by 2 to get 60. On this one, again, the fraction bar is like parentheses, so we need to do all the top. Using order of operation, 4 squared would be 16, so 16 plus 6 would give me a 22 on top. Here I'd have a 9. 9 times 4 would give me a 36 on the bottom. Now, since 36 doesn't go into 22 evenly, I don't really want you to divide that, but what can we do with this? We can simplify it. What goes into 22 and 36? 2 will, giving me 11/18. So you still, I prefer that it be that way. Don't change it into a decimal, because most of you use a calculator to do that, and we don't need a calculator for this. Evaluate. That's where you're going to replace all the variables with whatever numbers they give you, and then you use your order of operations. So the first step is just go through and replace them. So I'm going to replace my A with a 7, so it's going to become 7 squared, minus, I'm going to replace my B with a 3, so 3 to the third, minus 4. Now I do need to put my dot in here when I replace the C, so it's not 45, it's 4 times C. Now I have to use my order of operation, so I'm going to come over here and do my inside my parentheses, and I also have to use my order of operation there. So what's 3 to the third? 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 3 is 27. Now I would do my multiplication and get 20. 27 minus 20 would be 7. 7 squared is 49, so 49 minus 7 would be 42. Here's a problem to do using the calculator. Now, if you want to use a calculator without having to write down all your steps, you need to kind of use the parentheses. And if not, you'll have to kind of write down what you get on the top, write down what you get on the bottom. But if I were doing this probably and I was going to show some steps, I'd probably just say, and do my power first. Remember, I do need to do the power before I do. I don't multiply this number by 2 first. So I'm going to take 27.89. I'm going to square it. And remember, most of you do have an x squared key on your calculator. And then I'm going to multiply that answer times 2. Now, if I would have used parentheses, I would not need to write all this down, but since I didn't use parentheses, I'm going to write it all down. 0.70, oops, maybe. .7042 on the bottom, and again, if I would have kept my 27.89 squared, I would have it already again, x to the second, and then I'm going to minus 27.89 from that, and I get 749.9621. And now I need to go back and do this as a division problem. If I would have used parentheses and done all the top, I wouldn't have to do it this way. But you got to be very careful when you use your parentheses so you don't lose anything. 0.9621, and I get for an answer 2.074377092, and I have a feeling it probably didn't even come out even. That's just what my calculator gave me. It didn't go any farther than that. So calculators are useful at times, but not always useful. So don't use it all